Alright, I guess we are live now. Um, if my voice is audible, let me know in the chat, guys, if anyone has joined yet. If my voice is audible, let me know in the chat. I will, otherwise, I'll do something about it. Alright, audible. Nifty is, we'll discuss about Nifty. Don't worry about Nifty. Ignore this. We'll discuss about Nifty. We'll discuss about everything. Don't worry. We'll let more people join in and then we will start with the session or the live, whatever you want to call it. We'll start in some time. We'll let more people get in. Give me 2 minutes. We'll wait for more people to get in. All right. Also, you can put your doubts in the chat and make sure that you like the video as well. It helps with the algo. All right. So, Nifty view. Right. So, Nifty view, basically, Nifty is still in a downtrending sort of a structure until this base is taken out, right? So you see there is this entire base right here. So until this is taken out properly, we are still in a downtrending structure. But the good part is that there is an internal demand zone right here. All right, there's an internal demand zone right here, the one inside the range, which is kind of holding it. So expect it to be range bound. So after such a big fall, it's I mean, I wouldn't really expect any big down day straight away. Also, small cap index is also at the daily time frame demand zone around the range low, I guess. Just a second. Yeah. So it is also around the range low daily time frame demand zone. So I wouldn't expect a big fall from here, especially in intraday in Nifty, right? So what we can expect is we can expect it to just be sideways, right? We can expect a reaction to the supply, but mostly it will try to be sideways inside the range. And in the later part of the day, we might see some kind of a spike, depending on what the structure is. All right. So just a second. All right, my internet is kind of. Give me 1 second. Yeah. All right. So Nifty, don't do anything in Nifty today because it's mostly sideways. These kinds of markets, you need to be very sure where your range extremes are. So your range extreme is here, and the other one is around the range low. So when it's doing nothing in the middle, then you should engage here, expecting it to move somewhere. Shorted some calls. Depends on where you shorted. You probably shorted it somewhere here, which is good. If you shorted after this kind of a leg, expecting a down move, then that might not be very might not be a good entry. All right. Should I exit GMR Infra? I'm not sure where you're holding from. So I'll just look at the chart and tell you the short-term view. What's up with the internet? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. My internet is all right again. Not sure what's going on, but let's see if it gets all right. I'll just reconnect. All right, cool. We're back. Um, so let's take up some questions. National Aluminium, Web Global. Why are you holding Web Global? There is no entry yet in Web Global. So every day, do not ask about Web Global because there is no entry yet. You're waiting for the thing to go sideways. All right. Um, all right. 26.9. All right. So you should hold it. Yeah, you should hold it. If you're holding it for a long term, you should hold it until this zone is broken or this zone is broken. All right. So hold this. It's all right. Uh, Nothing wrong with this. Tata Steel, for nothing in Tata Steel. Tata Steel is the weakest metal stock. We have discussed this multiple times, guys. Come on. Tata Steel is one of the weakest metal stocks. So you stocks like National Aluminium is much stronger than Tata Steel, even though everything fell down by 6-7% yesterday. But still, it's strong. Alright, I'm not sure what's wrong with the internet. Give me 1 second. Since Nifty is at the weekly demand zone, it seems to be holding. This is a good opportunity to sell options. Seems to be holding. How is Nifty holding this demand? Um, Nifty is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it is falling down in a straight line, and now it's just bounced up. So where? Alright, so we are back live. Now it should be alright. The internet. Let's see. Yeah, it's good now. Alright. So yeah. Um, yeah, now it's alright. I was just changing the connection. So Nifty is at a weekly demand zone. So first of all, I was discussing about the metal stocks. Why metal stocks? Which metal stocks you should basically take. See, sale. We've already discussed a very poor structure in sale. There is no point taking a long here. JSW Steel is also kind of sideways. National Aluminium and Hindalco. National Aluminium and Hindalco are the only strong stocks, but they also need some time because they have formed a very strong supply right here. All right, so they need some time to take the supply out. So they will spend some time here as well. So right now, mostly all the stocks whichever stocks you watch in the live market, you will see that they are they have formed a very strong supply at the top, and now it will take a lot of time for these stocks to basically get get in good shape for an up move again. All right. So how can you develop an efficient trading system? You first need to study the market. I'm supposing you're talking about intraday trading system, right? So suppose you're seeing Nifty, right? So when you're watching Nifty, you want to see where what things you're gonna miss out on. So suppose let's take a pretty simple example of a trend line or triangle. All right. First of all, if you're drawing a triangle, you should be at least connecting 3 points. Otherwise, any 2 points can make a line. All right. This is not a triangle or a trend line. So if you're drawing a trend line, you should at least connect 3 points. With that, you might get some success. All right. So suppose you are trading any triangle, right? So then you'll have to see. So there are many ways to trade a trend line, right? You directly sell the breakdown, you wait for the retest of the previous high, you wait for the break of the support, then you short it. All right. So you have to see which of these work in what market scenario. All right. So suppose if Nifty is range bound, then you cannot sell directly on a trend line break. Otherwise, it will tend to reverse back up. Right. You'll have to sell on a support break or maybe on a retest, and then if it's trying to go down again. All right. If Nifty is uptrending, then you don't want to short those kinds of structures. So any trading system, any basic trading system, pick that up and then observe what it's doing in what kind of market scenario. That will tell you a lot of things about the market, which just creating a system won't tell you. All right. So it doesn't matter what system you're trading. You just have to align it with what kind of market we are in. If you are able to do that, then it will be very easy for you to basically trade properly. All right. If you're not able to do that, then no matter what system you pick up, your efficiency will always be very low. All right. So this is the main thing which you need to keep in mind. You need to be testing your system on different kinds of market scenarios, because anyone can make money here selling this breakdown. All right. But are they making money here? Definitely not. Here, maybe a little, but not a lot. All right. So you'll have to test all these things in the market. Tata Communications, is this the right time? I don't think so. I don't think it's the right time for any kind of long right now. Just a second. All right. So I don't think it's the right time. Definitely not for this stock. I mean, it has come down to this base, which is good. But from here, you cannot expect it to rise back up like this again. It will take some time here. So it's not the time for any kind of long trades. All right, UPL. UPL is still strong, right? But see, again, it has made a very strong supply here. So it's testing out that supply again and again. And um, so give it some time. All right. On the lower time frame, the supply in UPL is somewhere, the base in UPL is this entire structure. All right. So at least let it test out this base, and then any kind of buying opportunity here inside this area, you should be taking that. All right. Escorts. All right. Let's check out escorts. Escorts, again, it's actually doing nothing on the daily chart. First of all, you shouldn't be chasing these up moves. It's not falling, which is a good sign, but I don't think it's going anywhere. I mean, looking at the way it's moving right now. So avoid escorts for now. It's been doing nothing for a for a lot of days now. All right, Kawai Medical Center. So this was the demand zone, I think, which we were talking about. Right. So this is actually a good structure. The candles are also good here, but I think it's very illiquid. Right. So buy it at your own risk, but the structure is good, and take an entry with a small size. Don't, in the current market, don't take any longs with larger size. All right. Just take it with a small size. Keep your stop below this demand zone. So I wanted to know what is the buying. First of all, why do you want to buy in the current market? Uh, Instead of asking what, you should first always ask why do you want to do this in the current market scenario. Right? There is no buying opportunity in the current market scenario. All right, maybe Bank Nifty, something is there in Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty is not falling; it's holding the entire fall. So maybe if these supplies start to get taken out, then we can see some buying opportunity. But why do you want to buy in the current market when everything is downtrending? All right. So first of all, you want to ask that is the current market good enough for a long? It's most definitely not. Even if you catch one winner, a lot of your stocks will be losers. So there is no point trying to be in a scenario where you have a better chance of losing than of winning. All right. So so you don't want to buy in the current market. That's the entire point, right? Narayan Rudala is still good. It's actually still good. But any kind of longs you want to see, the long setup always remains the same. So there is the setups cannot be ranked as strong, stronger, and strongest. There is only one strong setup. Rest everything is weak. All right. So you want to keep this in mind as well. There is only one strong setup, which should include every kind of scenario. Anything if it excludes anything, then it's automatically weak. There cannot be a stronger or weaker, because one thing can spoil your entire trade. So it's automatically just weak. There is no ascending order of setups that it's strong, it's a strong setup or it's a weak setup. If it's lacking something, it's this weak. It's not stronger than any other weak setup. All right. So you should be aiming for just one setup. So this setup which you were following earlier, that is the only setup for long trades, and these stocks are still bullish. So these are still good for long trades. All right. So the stocks which are bearish, they will automatically get excluded. So you won't take longs there. So the setup is still the same. There is no different strategy. You will just reduce the position size if the market is bearish. That's it. What exactly is an order block? Order block basically is the demand zone where there has been some kind of a trap situation. All right, and mostly it will be an engulfing candle out of it, coming out of it. So on the opposite side. So this candle is an engulfing candle. There has been some kind of a trap. So this is a good order block. I mean, assuming, I mean, I should be right most probably. Not an expert on order blocks though. What PVR? All right. PVR, all right. PVR is, it was all right. PVR was not falling at all. Um, but where we'll take a long here, it's going up like this. There is no point chasing these. It's at this supply right now. Probably it will take it out. I mean, judging by the way it's moving right now. But I wouldn't want to take a long here. All right, Lodha Macrotech. This is the demand zone. This one right here. This is the demand zone. Nothing else. HFCL. All right. HFCL, still nothing in HFCL. This is a demand zone. I think it tested this yesterday. So let it spike till the supply, and then this entry, the second time when it starts going up, that is when you want to take an entry. All right. Let it react first. So again, I discussed this is the first breakout. This is the pullback, and then I mean, okay, this is the first breakout. This is one, this is two, and your three is the reaction. So let the reaction happen, and then you buy when the pullback also sustains. So don't buy first dip at the demand ever. All right, you want to see that the pullback is also sustaining. Kelton Technologies. I think it's double L. Yeah. Nothing again. Nothing here. Don't ask me about extended structures. I will never suggest them. Nothing here as well, and it seems quite illiquid. So yeah, avoid this. SBI Live on 15 minutes spike from 1 hour demand zone clear, now contracting. I will avoid taking longs in intraday in the current market. All right. I think it's holding this demand zone. It was holding it yesterday as well. I think yesterday I saw this structure. This might go up, but SBI Life is not the stock which you want to trade in intraday. All right, you will find a lot of better stocks. So avoid this, I would suggest. All right, so let's discuss about some intraday, right? So in intraday, what do you want to do is see the biggest moves will come. Uh, Suppose this is a range, all right? It's going up. So the short when you're taking a shot at some previous supply, the biggest move is not this. All right, this is the move which will come about mostly, but then it might react back straight up. The biggest move will come when this demand starts getting absorbed. All right, and why is shorting kind of better for intraday? Only for stocks I'm talking about, is because when the market is going up, a bunch of stocks can take the market up. Only a few stocks, maybe 15 stocks in the Nifty 50 can take the market up, and the rest might do nothing. Right, and but the market when it falls, mostly everything will start falling with Nifty. All right, so there is always, and especially when Nifty drops big. All right, so there. All right, I should be live now. I think there is an internet problem actually. I think because of the weather here. All right, so view on Nifty, we've discussed it multiple times. Nifty view is bullish. I mean, not exactly bullish, but it's holding this demand zone. So we're not expecting any fall until this internal demand zone is taken out. All right. Till then, any dip should be bought. And If you buy the dip and this zone gets taken out, then you exit your longs. All right. So keep it simple. Buy this buy Nifty at this internal demand, um, and we might see some breakout. But till now, the target is limited to the supply. If it starts to take out the supply, well and good. But do not chase the up move. All right. This is the buying area. This demand zone right here. IRCTC, we'll discuss IRCTC, Avas Financials, all right, financiaries. Avas, I think this was a morning move which got tested. So I'll ignore this still. Actually, I'll ignore this. I don't want to buy so far from the demand. If it came down properly and went up, then I would have bought it. The chart is good, but I'll ignore this. IRCTC, we discussed about the level of 780, right? Which was this high. Yesterday only we talked about 780. Today's low is 784. So you could have taken a 1 minute entry here. Now it's gone at this level. Now wait for the hourly structure to get better if you want to catch some momentum. Don't buy here. It can basically come down again. All right. All right. Solar industries. All right. Solar industries. Wait for the supply to be taken out. It's not falling. Actually, it's going up. So this is a good one. Wait for the supply to be taken out, and then we might see some kind of an up move till here. All right. So the levels here are around 2400 and then straight 2700. So wait for the supply to be taken out. Don't preempt it. All right, because it can fall if the market falls again. TCI Express. All right. TCI Express again nothing. This was the demand zone, dipped down into demand. So now it has made a supply right here. Right. It has made a supply right here. The structure is ruined because of the market. So let this supply get taken out and then there will be something. Nothing yet. USD INR, we discussed the bias is bullish. We will see some up move till this supply, which is 75.02. 75, around 75, somewhere here. This supply is getting taken out. So we should see some up move here in USD INR. Newland Labs, all right. Newland Laboratories, this has broken the structure, so nothing in this. I would ignore this. It's actually perfectly downtrending. So I was watching it somewhere here. I'd taken an entry here, rejected from the supply. Then my exit was here. All right. So just a little loss. Don't hold these when the structure is clearly bad. Renuka Sugar. All right. What's happening to Renuka Sugar? So it has come down to this demand. So until this demand is broken, you don't exit the trade. All right. So until this demand is broken, there is no reason to exit the trade. Sun Pharma. All right. Sun Pharma has also come back to the levels, proper levels. Let's see. This is the demand. So now on the lower time frame, wait for this supply to be taken out. All right. Until then, it's still downtrending. Once the supply is taken out, the base will be big enough for some support on the downside. So you'll have a lot of support on the downside. So this base needs to be taken out, which is basically a supply on the daily chart. All right, ICICI Securities. Nothing in this. Nothing in this. Why do I use India 50 USD? Because it has a lot of data. So suppose Nifty gaps up, India 50 is not going to gap up. There are no gaps in this chart. All right. So this has a lot of data. You see again the previous base right here. So there was a long in the morning itself at this demand, right? So this kind of a base, it won't be visible on the chart of Nifty, right? Because it formed at night. This is from 10 p.m. to something 1 p.m. All right. So so Nifty doesn't have that base here. So Nifty just gapped down, made a new low, and went up. So how do you know how it went up from here? It went up because of that demand zone on India 50. So it makes trading Nifty very, very easy, right? Because you can just track this one. So it's pretty simple to trade Nifty using this. The only problem is sometimes it will start falling just from 9:15, so you might not get an entry. But forming a bias and everything is way easier on India 50 USD, and that is where the yesterday's morning short was, which I don't think I talked about. But this was the supply right here. This base made the last low, so snap back into this supply. There was a short, and I booked somewhere here, but then it kept falling. So India 50 is much better if you want to trade intraday Nifty, right? You will get all your zones very nicely, and it's overall just a better idea because there's a lot of data. So this is spiking up, all right. Sequence scientific structure has shifted. Oriental rail, all right. Oriental rail. I think it's very illiquid. Yeah, I cannot talk about this one. ACC and Hind Copper, all right. Um, ACC again, nothing in ACC. It's actually in a downtrending structure after it broke this low. Now it's in a downtrending structure, all right. So nothing in this chart. Hind Copper, same. I think Hind Copper is still all right, but I would be, I would stay away from this. All right, the supply has been tested. Now price is not going back up, so I'll stay away from this. Any big range bound structures like these, you want to stay away from those. All right, this is much better actually. The demand is right around here. Let's see on the lower time frame. Right, so there was a demand zone right here. So it's very difficult to recommend anything at this point in the market. Avoid this. Avoid this. In the demand zone of Nifty today, it was spending a lot of time at the same demand zone. Thought it might break down. I'm not sure which demand zone you're talking about, but this is not spending a lot of time. The demand is somewhere here. It tested it once and then went up. So if you're thinking that it will break down, you want to see that the supply which is leading to the low is tested, all right? Because if the supply is not tested and it has fallen in a straight line, so the move is most probably over. So you might get a retracement and then a breakdown. So this is not a lot of time. This is why it's important to watch the 5-minute chart. 1 minute you only use for entries, all right? So only when this supply is tested, then you can, and the space is filled, that is when you can look for this demand absorption thing, all right? If it falls straight down and does something like this is not demand absorption. Adani Enterprises for a short trade in intraday, all right? Don't, of course not. This is the last base and it took out this entire structure. So no shorts in Adani Enterprises. Intraday shorts, you want to take intraday shorts when you see that prices are range bound and then they're trying to break down, right? Don't try to short these volatile moves. So I'll show you. Let me find some example. Yeah, let's see ONGC. So you see, this has not fallen for 2 days, right? This has not fallen for 2 days, but now it's not going up with Nifty. So this is where the supply is holding itself, right? The supply is holding. Demand has been tested multiple times. So this is the structure where you can see some spike, a quick spike, and the spike might continue. The spike might react from this demand. You never know that, all right? But you want to see structures which are range bound like this, and when they start to go, when there is no reaction from the demand, that is when you short it. Don't short a snapback into the supply, because then you're not really sure. If that supply is gonna push the stock down, or if a lower supply is gonna, or if a higher supply is going to push it down, all right? So you see, this is what happens when things are falling a lot. Supply gets tested multiple times, but this internal demand doesn't break at all, right? So that is why it's very important to wait for price to just hold at this demand, and then maybe you're far from the supply, all right? Maybe you're far from the supply, but at least you're getting in a weak structure. So the chances of a spike here in ONGC is very less. So your margin of safety is very high. And similarly with Bajaj Finance as well. So this was the demand zone which I was watching, and this was the supply. So even if I take a short trade, suppose somewhere here, and I put my SL above this supply, so I know I'm far from the original supply, but since it's not reacting to Nifty, the move of Nifty, it's much easier for me to hold this for a longer move, right? So you always want to wait for some kind of a range, right? Look at this. So this is the demand which led it from the low. So instead of shorting at these supplies where there can be multiple fake outs, right? What I'll rather do is I'll wait for it to come here and then test out this supply, and then I'll start shorting it. All right. Of course, I won't short it after a big candle like this, and I won't short here. I will wait for something like this to short the stock. Same thing which is building up in ONGC and see it's already dropping. All right. Not going up with Nifty, trying to drop, so it's probably ready to drop. Nifty has went up in a straight line. ONGC hasn't gone anywhere. So that this is how you want to short a stock. Don't short directly at a supply. Wait for some kind of demand absorption, and the biggest moves will come below a range only. It cannot come in the middle of nowhere. So I'll just show you examples for that as well. Let's take any random stock. All right. Let's take right. So see, when this entire area is absorbed, this is the supply. That is when the biggest fall comes. All right, not from the supply itself. And there are multiple examples of this. I mean, it happens all the time. Let's see some more. Again, you see this demand zone. This demand zone was holding, right? Tested out this prior supply. Once it's absorbed, you can short it, short here, and then there is a big fall. So it happens again and again. That is how the big falls basically happen in the market, and it's a very profitable system if you can actually incorporate it, and you can do it because you won't be missing out on market volatility. Market if market gets a little volatile, stocks will start dropping. All right, if market does something like this, stocks will start dropping very fast, especially the weak ones, especially the ones which are trying to break down of some range. So 1:2 or 1:3, you can make it very easily. All right. Your monthly goal should be to make 10 R. All right, R being 1% of your account. If you're a good trader, you should be making around 8 to 10% a month. If you're a good intraday trader, not a swing trader, all right. Swing basically depends on the market. Cannot do anything about it. All right. So Nifty is again rejecting from this supply. So until one of these is taken out, it is bound to be range bound, right? So don't take any trades here in Nifty. All right, Bharat Bijali. All right, let's see. BVL we've discussed. I think we discussed it some time ago. It's still bullish, but it's now very far from the 50 EMA. So any day this can happen. So it's extended. So avoid this. Structure is good. Your understanding is good. GDPL Hathaway, nothing here, nothing here. Exit this. If you're holding this, exit. CCL products. All right, CCL products. This is also holding. I mean, you can take a trade here. Let's see on the 5. Avoid this. Avoid this. Wait for some. See, the biggest moves will come when the volatility dies down. All right. So right now, volatility is very high in the market. Everything is reacting from the lows. So when they test the supply, then they will come back down and then they will go sideways. So this is the point where you want to pick up stocks. So we are basically 2 stages behind right now. So give the stocks some time to I mean go sideways and let the volatility dry down. Don't engage in this kind of a market straight away. Apar Industries again. Apar Industries is all right, but I wouldn't take a long at this level. Cannot. Very far from the 50 EMA extended. All right, Shivalik Rasayan. Let's check this out. Where is Shivalik Rasayan? Yeah. Yeah. So this is actually a good structure. This is actually good. Wait, just a second. So this is the wage breakout right here. This is the previous supply. It's tested multiple times. So now, right. So now suppose it starts sustaining above the hourly 50 EMA. You can take a long here. This is actually a good structure. Good one. All right. Nifty React, make money organics. Yeah, make money organics is good. I mean, you can buy it for long term. This chart is really good. Unlike all the other IPO stocks. And then make money fine chem also, I've discussed promoters are buying that as well. So this is also at upper circuit today, constantly chasing the highs. So if you want something for long term, you can buy this. Nifty reacted from 50. Yeah. So all right, the reaction is not exactly from not from the 50 EMA, but from this supply right here. All right, this entire supply. This is where the reaction is coming from, not from the 50 EMA. All right, and this is the internal demand zone. So there, any day when you're trading any kind of instrument, there are two zones. One is the external zone, which is the previous day or maybe 2 days ago, 3 days ago, previous range, all that. All right, and the other is the internal zone, where it's the zone which got formed today itself. All right, so whenever there has to be a big move in Nifty, one of these have to be taken out. It's the truth. Otherwise, how can there be a big move in Nifty? All right. So one of these have to be taken out, right? So right now the supply seems weaker and the demand seems stronger because of course price is not falling from the supply. So and it's also not breaking the 1 minute demand zones as well. So we might see some up move in Nifty. So in this kind of a scenario, you might want to take some longs in stocks. Definitely don't go ahead and buy options here because it's still far from demand, right? So maybe something like this, a dip later in the day is buyable, so you can do that. But right now, don't buy it. My bias is bullish in Nifty here. All right. So even in a bullish bias, when Nifty is going up, see this is again trying to break through these lows. So these are the stocks which you want to short. Bajaj Finance is also not doing anything. Look at this. All right. So these are very weak structures. So probably Nifty IT is trying to take this up. Bank Nifty as well. Yeah. All right. So try to find stocks which are trying to do something like this. All right, which I discussed a few minutes ago. These will give you the biggest drops in the market. All right. Um, Premier explosive. All right, let's check it out. Yeah, avoid this. It's very far from the demand, right? So this is probably chasing momentum. So I will never suggest this one. Cummins India. Yeah. So Cummins India is holding this demand zone. I've discussed this demand multiple times. Basically, this entire structure. Um, the actual highest high on the stock is here, right? And the base which made it was here. So the actual demand is somewhere here. But since this was one of the strongest structures, we can look for a long trade here. Now, what you want to do if you want to take an entry here is see, when the 50 EM is far from the stock, it means that the stock is in a volatility expansion phase. All right, it's in a volatility expansion phase, so you don't want to participate here. Where do you actually want to participate is when the 50 EMA comes down, stock goes sideways and it's flat. Then when these supplies are starting to get taken out, that is when you want to buy this. All right. So right now, do not buy this even if it goes straight up, because this is basically getting stuck in a volatile move. It will definitely react from this supply if it goes straight up from here. So ONGC is starting to drop again. So you see, even though it didn't drop below Friday's low yesterday when everything was falling, basically it was kind of bullish. Still, it's weak today. All right. So stocks just take their time to form their distribution and then they start dropping again. So this is why I always focus on these range bound structures and try to catch the breakdown. Since it was bullish yesterday, I'm assuming it's going to react from this low, which is around 162.5 or something. Medicam and biotech. All right, this is a very um, all right. Yeah. So the chart is great. The chart is actually great. You can actually get in here. Um, yeah, you can buy something here. Keep your stop below this low right here, which is 750 on BSC. The chart is really good. All right. Renuka sugar we have discussed multiple times. Until that demand zone is taken out, this one there is no reason to exit the stock. National Aluminium on intra. All right, let's check it out. No, no. Why do you want to do an intraday trade here? It's extended. It's in the middle of nowhere, so there is no intraday trade here. Don't do anything. Action construction ace downtrending. I've talked about this supply multiple times. Until this is taken out, there is nothing long here. KPR Mills. Wait for it. Wait for it. These kinds of fall. Wait for the absorption. All right. See, you will see something like this. When this kind of a fall happens, it will spike to a supply and then it will go sideways. So you buy here. All right. You buy here if you're still bullish on the stock. You see a fall, then wait for these multiple sideways movement at the next supply. So something like this. All right. This is basically in Wyckoff terms, it's called a change of character. All right. It means that this kind of a fall hasn't happened in the previous run up. So now we're expecting some kind of a range between this and this. GNFC again, nothing in GNFC right now. Again, there is a strong supply right here. Most of the stocks will have these structures when there is a big candle and there's a very strong supply. So you wait for this sideways movement. PVZ, nothing here as well. Nothing. A lot of supply there. It's falling very fast. Adani Power is good. Adani Power cannot really deny. The structure is great. It's at the proper demand as well. You can probably buy a little. It might go straight to 115, I guess. All right, Bhale. Bhale, nothing is there in Bhale. It's downtrending. I mean, in the current leg, it's downtrending. So nothing is there in Bhale. Don't do it. Don't take it. Sukhjeet Starch. I think we discussed this earlier. It was illiquid, and we talked about this demand zone. Right. So it got tested yesterday. Now it's going up. Sorry. So now you want to see that the stock is going sideways at this supply. Right. Now it's reacting negatively from this supply, so don't do anything right now. You want to see that it's going sideways. Maharashtra CMS info also, I'll check it out. Maharashtra Seamless is good. Yeah, this is a good stock. Supplies right here as well. Just 1 or 2 more days and then this will blast up. CMS info, nothing in this right now. Wait for this supply. There's an hourly supply right here as well. Yeah, wait for this supply. Nothing right now. All right, Sarda Energy is a good structure as well. Sarda Energy is good. On the daily chart, it's really good. Now see, it's testing out this supply, so we need some contraction here. All right, we need some contraction here because this is the entire reference range now from this supply to this demand. All right. For a long time I came to your life. Did you stop using mark? No, I'll never stop using the VCP. That is the and also I don't use VCP blindly. Marking, I never used that. All right. People were buying VCPs here. I never bought this. All right. I was my entire stuff, concept or whatever I do is based on the previous base. All right. And then the demand zones and all the VCPs come later. So everything is formulated around this base. Nothing else. So VCP is just an addition for taking an entry. PVR, nothing is there in PVR. We've discussed PVR. We don't want to buy this. Don't chase the momentum. If the market starts falling, this will start falling. So don't chase it. It's even far. I mean, it's even extended on the 5-minute chart. Forget about the daily chart. All right. Don't buy PVR. Arvind, yeah, looks good. Wait for it to set up. Not showing any sort of bullish behavior. So wait for it. Don't jump in. The demand zone is good. Godfrey Phillips, we talked about that demand zone yesterday as well. Right, so this demand has been tested now. There has been some reaction. So you see, you see, mostly all stocks have come down to their previous demand zones. All right, a lot of stocks have come down to the previous demand zones, and this is why the small cap index is reacting in this way, and that is why all stocks are going up. So in this entire run up, mostly everything was extended, which I've been talking about in the past few days. As soon as they came down to demand zone, everything has gone up 4-5% from their demand zones. So you always want to wait for, you always want to see what stocks are extended, how many stocks are extended. If you see a lot of them are extended, it means that it's not a good time to take a long trade. Any time this kind of stuff can happen. Explio Solutions. All right. It's good, but there is no demand. The demand is right here, so I'll avoid this one. Sumitomo Chemical. Nothing. It's downtrending. It's downtrending. There is some change of structure here, but this is the previous base. So until, I mean, avoid this. You can find better structures than this. Arvind Fashions. Both Arvinds are good. All right, both Arvinds are good. They've taken out immediate supplies, so you can look for entries in both of them. The charts are really good. All right. So longs only at this demand. If it goes, suppose so now don't buy it blindly again. And I repeat this every single day. Don't buy blindly at this point. In the 1-minute chart, you see something like this. So in the 1-minute chart, you see a downtrend. So when it comes to this demand, don't buy blindly. Wait for the reaction and then for it to go sideways again. This structure again. All right, the one which I've been discussing on the daily charts for swings. But this is a good area to take a long trade. Bank Nifty, I think, is leading the move. Yeah. All right. MTAR Technologies. All right. Nothing in. I mean, the structure is good, but the supply is still not tested. So I will ignore this. All right, Tark as well. I've been watching this since here, I think, but never took an entry. So you see, all right, let's see this one. So this kind of structure, it forms every single time, all right, before moving up. So again, it will form something like this on the supply. So this is what I've been telling you guys since the past 10-15 minutes. After a reaction on the downside, there will be a sideways move at the previous supply, and then there will be a breakout. Reaction, then a sideways move, then a breakout. All right. Never take the reaction from the demand. This is why your demand zones are probably failing. Green panel industries again extended 2x too much. I mean, ignore this. DLF, Nothing in DLF right now. Cannot really. So here I suggested you take a long. So you should have exited right here if you took it. But now don't take it. Right. Union Bank. Nothing in Union Bank is downtrending. We've discussed this earlier as well. Infosys. All right. Infosys again. Nothing in Infosys. The entire move is reversed. Move is reversed. It has come down to the range low where you might see some buying happening, but it's not showing any sign of strength on the 5 minute chart itself. So it's the same structure which is playing out, which I talked about earlier. External zone, right? Internal demand zone, and then the supply. So weakening here, then trying to fall. So it can test out day low. It's already testing the day low demand. All right. So nothing in Infosys right now. All right. So that will be it for today. Hopefully you guys learned something. And um, yeah. So if you're looking for an intraday strategy or something, I've discussed one today. You can go and watch the live again, and make sure that you like the video as well. All right. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Probably with better market conditions, hopefully. And we'll discuss that again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.